You know, they're not gonna get to see your cookies, are they?
Hmm?
They're not gonna get to see your cookies, you're not gonna eat while you're on.
I'd come to come over and get some.
Seriously, you're not gonna eat while you're on, are you?
No.
Big meeting tonight?
Hopefully not too long.
With Susie for a little bit today, and she said she and Vince got the COVID test because he wasn't feeling good. Well, he was coughing an awful lot. And so she said, "You've got it, let's go." So they went and got the test. And she
They
said-
got the results back yet?
Yeah, and he didn't have it. And she said that her, I can't remember, she called it a tube or whatever, anyways, something that, you know, if, I don't know if it was a swab or a tube or what, anyways, whatever she had broke, so she had to do it twice. But she said neither of them had it. So that's good. All right. Enjoy your meeting.
Fine. Hold on. Okay. shoot, everybody's here already.
There. So, can you hear me?
Yep. Can you hear me, John?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can hear you. You're good.
Thanks. I'm actually sorry the printer's running because I had to print off some of our paper. It wasn't in the file, but it'll quit in just a sec here. Is it just me or are we getting spoiled doing this? Like,
Yeah, this is definitely
like 5 minutes before
easier.
I just run upstairs. And hey, Sean, you on? Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay, cool. Hey, Jen. Or Susan, sorry.
Hello.
Hey, almost done printing. So everybody should be clicking in. I guess we're still a few minutes early, so that's good.
Is Jen on?
I didn't see a name on that. I'm sorry. Who all is on? Are you looking at the screen there? There's a couple.
Yeah. Jen's name is up, but I was just wondering if she was on.
Oh, Jen? She said she was going to, but it's there.
She can hear you.
Oh, okay, okay.
Sorry, I put the headphone down for a second. Sorry, Sean.
That's
No,
okay. I sent that one page to you for the street
Oh.
elevation.
Okay, let me. Ooh, I wonder if it went to junk. I didn't see it. Let me look. I am not seeing anything from you. Town clerk at townofgeorgetown.us.
No, it looks like it's to your email.
My personal?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah, it looked like that one was missing in the application, that one page.
Okay, cool. Thanks for sending it.
Sure.
hey Brent.
How's it going?
Good, good.
Good.
And everybody got one more minute here. Oh, good. My printer just quit. All right. So, I think, have we heard from Cindy? Yeah, I just saw her yesterday. She should be here.
Can I ask whose phone number is, there's a call-in listener
Huh?
with the phone number that starts with 970?
Yeah, the dolls are on.
Okay, thank you. I'll promote you to and name you. Thank you.
Thanks.
I'm making that. Okay, and Cindy, are you on the phone? Oh, no, she's live. Okay, so I think everybody's here. Shall we go ahead and start the meeting? Susan, would you take the roll, please?
Okay, Joan Eaton,
Here.
Sean Platt,
Here.
Cindy Neely, You're-
Cindy, volume,
Nancy Hale, not Mark Reynolds,
audio, Cindy.
Bob Hamilton,
Here.
Frank Ganzer.
What's the signal to tell Cindy her sound's not on?
No sound, Cindy.
Hello. She's working on it, I think. So who's the phone? Okay, that's the dolls. Okay, gotcha. Cindy? He's working on it. Does that mean she can't hear us either? Okay, she can hear us. She can hear us. We have to lip read her tonight. So do we have approval of the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second the motion.
All right, I see Cindy trying to talk. Where's is she on mute, do you think?
She's not on mute now, but it's not coming through. She can just type in the chat.
Oh, okay. Did you hear that?
So she's going back and forth between muting and not. So now she's not. You might just have your volume all the way down. Is it possible?
Okay, so do I hear, we had two motions for the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. And audience business. Everybody here is on the agenda, so let's move to Lisa and John Dahl. Jen, can you maybe text Cindy with what might be going on? No? Okay. John and Lisa? Hello?
We're here.
Hello, okay.
Hello.
So if you'll state your name and address, please, and then just tell us a little bit about your project.
Yeah, Lisa and John Dahl, 1432 Marion Drive. We would like to install a 6-foot privacy fence, a vinyl fence around our backyard with 2 gates.
Okay. Anybody got questions or?
First of all, did you guys happen to read the guidelines for fences in the book?
Yes.
Okay. Because it starts out, fences should be transparent. So we'd like to see gaps in between the pickets, not a solid stockade type fence. And I think that's what you have proposed, isn't it?
It is what we have proposed.
Yeah. Reason being is
And
they
there's
want-
like there are 4 solid privacy fences in our neighborhood.
Oh, really?
Yes, really.
Well, by transparent, it doesn't mean it's like chain link or something. It just means there's some gaps between the boards. It can be boards, but not with no space between them. A little space we're talking about.
I don't believe there's a vinyl fence in your neighborhood that's solid where the pickets meet each other. Is there?
Well, down the street, there's a wood fence that's, basically solid unless you stand up to it and look through the side.
Mm-hmm.
The fence that we've proposed really doesn't have gaps in it except for where the gates are.
Yes. I can tell by the picture.
So I don't actually have a map that shows me your location on the block. Are you on a corner?
It's on the back side of your application.
Backside, there's a photo.
Okay, I've got 2 copies of stuff. Let me look here.
And it's
It's on the corner of 14th and Marion.
Oh, okay, I've got you.
Correct.
So,
And it's quite a bit of fence. It's a long
there's a lot of
fence.
fence. So which part of this are we talking about a fence? I'm sorry, it's all got great details here, but I can't tell. Are we talking about just across the back?
Yeah, it's to enclose the backyard.
Okay, so what about the side yards?
The side yards will be open.
Okay,
It
so
only goes to the back corners of the house around the backyard.
okay,
Yeah, the back half of the lot on 14th Street would have a fence, right?
Correct.
And that's facing the street.
Yeah, it's a corner lot, so that would be right along the edge of the street.
It would be from the back of the house along the edge of the street. But our property line is in quite a ways from the street, actually, like probably 6 feet. So it won't be right on the street.
Mm.
I mean, one of the reasons, or several of the reasons that we're needing to do this fence is that privacy wasn't an issue until recently when the house behind us became a VRBO and they park in that driveway that's adjacent to our property. And then also across the street, we received a large apartment building, which is increased a lot of traffic, a lot more people, and has a lot more dogs that are unleashed, and a 2-story building that looks right in upon us. And we've recently got a new small puppy, and there's several unleashed dogs in our neighborhood.
Okay. Well, you want to keep yours in mainly, but them out. So
I want to keep mine in and keep them out. Correct.
Yeah. So Mark, are we talking 2 different issues here on transparency? And I think wind is more your concern, isn't it, than actual visual transparency?
Well, we want to see gaps in between the fences. I mean, they can be butted together, but it can't be a solid wall. That's what the guideline says.
Okay. And then, so the other thing I'm thinking.
Well, what's the reasoning? What's the reasoning behind that?
It's just to not have walled off areas where you drive through, walls, basically. You don't have to be able to see into your yard and your house, but have the, like you say, the little slats where if you walked right up to it, you could see in. It's just a visual difference.
Yeah, I think the intent was to have views into the site. And with
The road going by is quite a bit higher than the site. So you can probably look right over the fence.
Yeah. And my other question to board is, are we discussing vinyl? Because I know we've done vinyl from different areas, and the quality of these type of fences, the maintenance is so much better now and stuff. So is that actually going to be the issue? What are we more?
To my knowledge, we've never done a tall vinyl fence. We've done vinyl pickets, never a vinyl tall fence, to my knowledge. And I could be wrong.
Well, it kind of, I think we have, and it's a visibility issue, whether it's, approachable in the public eye or not. And this sounds like it's much below the road there. Not like,
off the road, so it's visible.
okay. So what are our options? What are the fences on the sides of the yard?
Well, it goes around the backyard and then it just goes to the back corners of the house. And basically that's like maybe at the most 10 feet, and there'll be a gate in each side of the house.
And none on the front.
So that'll be the north and the south, and there's no fence on the front quarters of the
There's
house.
no existing fencing around the lot?
No, negative.
Okay. Well,
we're definitely not opposed to putting in a privacy fence, but I think it's the material that has us in discussion.
I'm wondering how it's going to hold up too with the wind.
Yeah.
We get a lot of wind.
Well, it's going to hold up with the wind because we chose 6-foot sections instead of 8-foot sections for that primary reason. The other thing is all the posts will be cemented in. This product is manufactured in Denver, right there at their plant at Continental Divide Fencing. They're certified, they're has a limited lifetime warranty with virtually zero maintenance. So, you know, you're not going to have to paint it. You're not going to have to look at chipped paint. It'll look in 10 years like it looked the first day we put it up, and that's why we chose it.
I think the other thing is how glossy is it? I mean,
It's not super glossy. I mean, you'd think it's glossy, but we picked not to be, I don't know what the word is. We wanted to make it just
Kind of plain.
conservative,
Sure,
kind of
I
plain.
understand.
So it's not going to be Gothic pillars or,
Yeah.
posts. It's just pretty much plain.
Is it more like a matte finish on it then?
Correct.
I think we're gonna have to see some samples if we're gonna go this direction. My other concern is, that's a long, it's 53 feet along the street side, which is fine. We don't have anything against it. But you put that up and it's just gonna look like a solid wall there, in my opinion. But we'll have to listen to the other board members, see what they think.
Well, when you're coming down Griffith Street going south, you'll see it right in your face at the end of the street too. It lines up within the Griffith.
Yeah, Griffith comes right into it. I mean,
Yeah,
that's the
that's-
only section I really have
That's
an issue
correct,
with.
but
Not.
that's the
with it.
primary reason for the fence. So you ought to live in this house and watch the people come down in Griffith,
Yeah, I can
which
appreciate.
there's twice as many as there were before because there's a commercial building right next to us now.
Yeah, I can appreciate that.
So the pros and cons are dependent on which side of the fence you're on.
Good point.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't know what the answer is, but on 14th Street, that's going to be a problem. We can't let something look like a solid wall across it. I don't think. Cindy, are you on?
White is really going to stand out too along there. It's a bright white fence will be bright.
Yeah.
That's not to say that on the other two sides, you could put the vinyl on perhaps and do something different.
Yeah,
on
but
that
if you
side.
make a fence that's multi-material, that's tacky.
Okay, I agree.
How tall is it?
Hey,
There's Cindy.
It's 6 feet.
Would it make a difference if it was a little less, was not that tall? Because 6 feet, this is a big fence.
Yeah, it's as tall as I am, but it would enable people to look right in our yard like they're doing now. Because, I'm here and you're not here, but the street is higher than that. You'll be able to look over it as it is.
so it's not
Except
6
for
feet
on the
from
left.
the street,
It's 6 feet everywhere.
but it's not level with the street at the bottom. It's below street level at the bottom of the fence, correct?
Yeah, correct. It'll follow the contour of the land. Yes.
I understand the issue with the privacy, particularly with the apartment across the street and the proximity to the VRBO and that those are relatively new things for us in town here to consider. And in my opinion, that has bearing here.
Well, yeah, I feel like that's important to give them to get some consideration. Because, there's been this done since they've lived there, obviously. is there something that is someone's main concern, Mark? You were worried about material or the look of it or the shine on it more than something else? Or I know
It's gonna be a solid fence.
so is
And we haven't let a solid fence go in. You know, I'm just saying, if we do it this time, we're
Yeah.
gonna have problems down the road. And I'm sorry about the privacy issue. I understand completely. But you could do a board and bat fence with those panels where they would offset each other, so you'd have a gap in there. I'm sure they make something in that material that would, so you don't have that smooth, flat surface 53 feet long.
so the offset pickets or whatever you call it?
Yeah.
Stagger it so you don't have visibility through, but it's still open.
So like half the slats are on one side of the fence and half are on the other,
Right,
offset from each other.
Yes.
So there are spaces and you can't look straight through. It's as at a glance, like from approaching or driving by, you see just some air, some light through it.
They put around the air conditioner.
So actually what you're asking for here is a special made fence from people that make these fences and sell them for a business. And now we have to apply for a special made one, which will drive the cost up.
Right. Yeah. Well, is there the possibility of just going to the wood fence then? I understand the maintenance on the vinyl because I know what that amounts to, but
Yeah.
Well, in our mind originally, no, because we don't want to maintain it. It's also a cheaper fence. It has wood poles and wood slats that warp over time, and this does not. I mean, that's the total difference. So you're talking about Mercedes versus a Volkswagen.
mhm. Okay.
Um, mm,
Cindy, are you on?
Yes.
You can't hear me.
Yeah.
We can hear you now.
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
Oh, that's handy. Is there a lattice fence there right now?
There's a deck with a fence around the deck.
What I'm wondering is there a type of fence even in the material that you want that is not absolutely solid like that one? Because I thought I saw a lattice fence.
Well, we'll have to check into that, but these people make standardized fences, and when you start looking at the fences that are like what you're suggesting, the cost is basically double.
Cindy, I've seen the one that's like 5 feet tall maybe, but then it's the solid part is 5 feet and then there's another, 1 or 2 feet above. That's the lattice.
A lattice.
Yeah, that gives it a little more.
I mean,
A good
we have
example
looked
of
at that, but it's not the design that we wanted, but
Yeah.
a good example of
Would that
that
work?
is a good example of that's at the courthouse. The little house is right next to the back parking lot. We allowed that because they were having issues with headlights and so forth shining into their house. And I think they went 4 foot up with 2 foot lattice, I think. But that was a vinyl fence. And that's the first vinyl and only vinyl fence I think we've ever done, to my knowledge anyway. You know which one I'm talking about, Cindy?
I know exactly which one you're talking about, and that's part of what I was thinking about, because that does split the light and stuff for the people who have that house. And it was a, you know, John refers to it as the difference between a Volkswagen and a Mercedes or something, but it was a very sturdy fence. I think that you can get a sturdy fence out of this. I think what we're trying to do is break up a solid wall look. And unfortunately, their yard is right along the side of a street. You know, if it weren't, we wouldn't be, you know, as deeply into this discussion. So I would like to ask them to consider a somewhat of a different design in the fence as far as.
So they do make that lattice top fence. It's 6 foot, and I think it has a 2 foot top, which was not our first choice, but you know, if we're going to have to stick with, you know, that versus wood, I'd rather go that way.
And the one you're referring to by the courthouse is lattice all the way down, not solid at the bottom.
Oh,
Well, the one that these people make is like 2 foot of lattice and then
the
4
rest
foot of
solid.
solid. Yeah.
And that would give it a different look along the street. It would not give it as, you know, you wouldn't feel so walled, but it still would break the headlights and things that come right down Griffith Street, because you know, being on the corner where they are, they have no privacy in their backyard.
Yeah. And a big fence.
Yeah, that's correct.
Becomes an issue over time, you know, like I say, I'm tired of, you know, all the rundown fences and everybody's tired of keeping them up. So I think that does make a difference if you have a fence that's going to look nice.
I mean, I don't have a problem with sections 3, 4, and 5, you know, the side, the backyard being the solid fence. It's just the section that's right on 14th Street.
okay.
Okay, you know, we're willing to go with the lattice topped fence if that would pass.
Mark?
That's a great compromise. The only thing I would worry about at this point in time is the finish on it, whether it's a matte finish or a bright shiny white. So
Even a matte white will be pretty bright though, because white is bright.
white is white, yeah.
Yes, but I understand the difference because because even in the vinyl fences, there is you know, obviously a difference in kinds of finish that you can get. We essentially don't want it to glow.
Well, you might,
Yeah,
and I
we
don't
don't want
know
that
if there would be any significant cost difference, and I don't know what your thoughts are, but you might believe that the veranda stuff is available in like an off-white. It'd be like a light tan wicker type color. So that might be an option also, if there's a concern with the bright white. I mean, white, I think it's white trim on your house and everything, isn't it?
Correct.
So I can understand wanting to go with the white.
Is there any way you could get a sample? Bring us in a sample?
I think they'd send you a sample.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We
Okay.
just have to go to Denver and get it.
So could I ask a question on specifics here? We're talking about all of the fence being with the lattice top, or just that section like 1 and 3? Or
No, it would be 2. It'd be section 2.
Section 2.
It's the
Yeah,
one
well,
right
I
along.
think
the
if
road.
okay, that looks like
if
a
we're gonna
3+.
do
Yeah.
if we're gonna do one section of fence lattice,
Gotta do the
we
whole-
would probably prefer to do it all that way.
Okay, but I think it's that one street. Really with it. So if that made a difference to you, that. Okay. Are we, do we need a sample? I mean, I've actually looked at them. I'm pretty familiar with the surface, and it's not a glossy, it's not the old vinyl fences they used to do, you know.
Oh, and it won't stay, even if it is glossy, it won't stay glossy long anyway after it gets sandblasted.
Sandblasting. Yeah.
In Georgetown?
Can you believe it?
I think this is a good compromise with the lattice on the top, and we appreciate you doing it that way.
Thank you.
Okay. Does somebody have some sightings for me?
Yeah, I did once upon a time.
We're in book,
Try book 3, page 81. Oh, are there any gates in this fence?
There are.
Yes, ma'am, there's 2 gates. They'll both be facing west. So, you know, so on the little short sides that come off the back of the house.
Right, on essentially line 1 and line 5.
Correct.
Yeah. To the side.
And those gates are made as part of the fence, so they don't look, they look like part of the fence?
Yeah, they're a panel that they put hinges on and gate latches, and they're,
There you
yeah,
go.
they look good. They don't look
They don't look like
tacky.
somebody's just, yeah. Okay,
So book 3, page 81,
chapter 11,
chapter,
11.
thank you. Okay.
I wrote down A. What else did I write down? Wait a second. I'm a little,
I think we should put something in that we're approving the the non-transparent fence that was proposed, given the privacy consideration of the apartment complex across the street in the VRBO on the adjacent lot.
Okay.
And Joan, we should go to number 3, A3, the fence for screening animal enclosures may reach heights to 5 or 6 feet.
Mhm.
And then A4, gate material design should be appropriate to the fence. And then we go to B, it talks about appropriate fence materials. And it goes to B2, synthetic materials may be considered on a case-by-case basis, is what we're saying anyway.
and I would like to make the sort of the point again that this is a backyard fence.
Mhm.
This
Yeah.
isn't a front yard fence.
Right.
And his backyard just happens to be along a street.
Mhm.
Because it says in A3 that the fence for animal enclosure should be located behind a building.
Which it is.
It is.
Yes.
I would make a motion to accept the application with the stipulations that we have cited and plus the sightings that we have given.
I'll second that motion.
Is there any more discussion? Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? Okay. And so, Mark, you said stipulations, that's with the
Lattice,
lattice on top. Okay.
yes.
The 2-foot lattice, so it's clear that it's lattice.
And folks, thank you for your patience on this.
No, thank you, and
Thank you. We appreciate
it
it.
was a good compromise, and thanks for working with us.
No problem. That's why
Thank
we're
you.
here.
You.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You know,
Sure. Okay, Scott Sumlart. Scott, you with us?
Yes, we are. Yes, this is Scott and Kimberly. Pleasure to meet you all. We are
Okay.
New to the neighborhood and we love it so far.
Welcome to town.
Thank you.
It's nice to see some activity at that house.
Yeah, well, most people know this house well, so we're gonna make it look nice. That's for sure.
Oh, cool.
Okay, so did you state your address just for the record, and then you can tell us a little bit about what you want to do?
Absolutely. 265 Clear Creek Drive.
Yes.
And what we want to do is a two-phase approach. We are going to be adding an elevated deck to the front portion or north-facing portion of the house. And we would like to add a storage shed in the back.
Does that, I guess maybe I'm even asking Mark, does that front facade, is that stepped forward on the top? Or
Yes,
stepped-
it's the roof. Yeah, the roof sticks out. It's like Robinson's house. It sticks out.
But does
on
the
Rose
whole
Street.
second floor step forward slightly?
About a
Just the
foot.
roof.
About a
Isn't it?
foot?
Yeah.
Yeah, the bottom.
Sort of off, yeah.
Sorry, the top level is offset forward about a foot.
Yes, offset forward. So you've got a slight this.
A little bit of a step, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of a step.
Sean, what's that called? I can't remember. When you step that roof out like that, what's that design called? I was trying to think of that today.
It's not the roof, actually, it's the siding of the house.
It's the whole.
Oh, the
top
whole
floor.
house sticks out? Okay.
The whole top floor.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
bottom-
actually,
the
there's a
bottom
name for
floor
that.
is the foot back from the top floor.
But there's a
Right.
term for that. I can't think of it.
So actually, the deck, Kent, are you on this? It somewhere, was this checked on setbacks? I just want to make sure we're not getting into something, because I didn't see any sheet that said it was checked on setbacks.
I'm looking at that right now, but I don't think I'll tell you what I come up with.
Okay, but look at the shed too, please. On the side. But you get out on the deck from the second floor, obviously.
Yes, we're going to install a French door to do that, where the window is.
Okay, we would also sort of need to see what that would look like.
What type of door?
Yes.
Can I share my screen? Would that be helpful? Okay.
Yes.
Let me know when you can see it.
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah.
So there's the typical window here, and then we're going to replace the window with a French door. Obviously, it's going to come down flush, but
Would that
with
be,
enough room for snow.
what would the door be made of?
The door will be made of a glass like this, and then it'll be a wood exterior door.
Is this a double, you say it's a French door? Is this a double door?
We're still deciding whether it's going to be a double or a single. I don't know if that matters in your review or not. We'd like it to be a double, but
Does it have divided lights like the picture of the window right now?
divided lights,
The
like
pane.
the
How many
pane.
lights, panes?
We are hopeful that it does not, but because our other doors are just one solid piece of glass like this, I'm using a computer program and they didn't have that exact door. So this is pretty close.
So the other doors on your house are just glass, plain glass?
It looks just like this, except there's no panes. So there's one big sheet of glass.
Are those on the back?
There's one on the deck in the back, and then there's two on the side entrance facing east.
Okay, so you don't see them from the front.
You don't see them from the front, correct? So we were hoping to match those doors.
I think we would prefer that anyway.
Yeah.
Actually existing.
Match existing, okay.
And that's fairly typical for in that neighborhood. for doors
Sure.
and so forth, so it's not unusual.
How about a double door there? What is the thought on that? As opposed to the single door?
I think we like it. We like that idea too. Oh, sorry.
Oh, you're fine. I don't think we have a problem with that because it's on the, I don't think that's a huge issue.
If the doors open out, it makes less room out there for furniture and stuff, you know, if you got two doors that open out.
What size is that? Is that facing north?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's the front
Yes.
of the house.
Okay, so that faces north, so that's all you win. So you may want to consider a single.
Ah, that's true, just for the weather.
Yeah.
Because that wind comes whipping straight down that street.
No, not a problem. That's why, yeah, we have it set here.
Okay, and then the porch itself is on 6x6 posts.
Yes, 6x6 on piers. So 5 6x6 on a ledger board.
And the decking is a cedar, or it's a wood deck?
Wood, yeah, wood decking materials, and then it'll be pressure treated frame.
Then are you doing wire for your rails?
Yes, as is shown here, cable railing.
Okay.
What about the cable railing gang? We don't usually see cable railing.
Well, down in that neck of the woods, there's been some of it. We've used what I call hog wire down here before. It's 4x4 squares of wire.
It's a pretty nice upgrade, just for looks. And we also, eventually, we're gonna do, just speaking of fences, you can probably see the fence as well. So we'll do a similar transparent fence, so that would kind of match the railing. That's not part of this review, but that's another reason for the cable.
Okay, all right.
Deck would come out toward the street by about 10 feet.
Correct.
Yeah, you may very well have an easement or a setback issue with that. I don't know. That's up to Kent.
I saw a message from him at the bottom, but I didn't get a chance to read it.
Because the diagram here shows that left-hand corner is 20 feet back from the property line. This would make it like 10. I don't know what the setbacks are down there, but
Here's a picture of the house. So it's approximately 20, at least 25 feet, I believe, to the gravel and the road.
Yes, but that's not where the road right-of-way is.
Okay.
Our traveled surfaces very rarely are actually where the right-of-way are. The right-of-way is usually far wider than the traveled surface. That's true all over town. It's very deceptive because you think you know where a road is. So I think that we do need to make anything we say in regard to this deck has to be pending pending a sort of look. There are, according to what you have turned in for your site plans, there are pins. I mean, somebody's done a survey out here and has left you pins of where your corners actually are.
Wish I could find them.
Yeah, well, that's,
Yeah, Mary hooked us up with the, Mary hooked us up with a survey, but
because yes, we do have to make sure that we're not approving anything that's in a within the setbacks. I think you can understand that.
what is the typical I mean, what would be the setback minimum of a front of a house like this?
It's in the zoning regulations, which I can't reach at this moment. Kent, can you help us with what the setbacks actually are on this lot?
This is showing 20 feet, 3 inches from the northwest corner of the garage,
Right, and how wide's your deck?
10 feet.
Which would put you within 10 feet of your property line, and so I don't know whether that sets you in the setback. And I don't know whether an uncovered deck counts.
Yeah,
That's,
it does.
that's the zoning rule. Does it, Mark?
Yeah, it's considered a structure. You can get a variance for it, but on something like that, I'm not sure. Typically down there, it's a minimum of 15, I think, but that's.
I think so too, but I can't look it up while we're,
Yeah, I'm thinking that when I built my house up on Main Street, it was 20 feet in the front and like 10 on the sides, something like that. But I'm going by memory, so.
Yeah, I think it's 15.
Brent, can you get to the zoning code?
I'm looking. It takes me a minute, but I'm looking for it.
It's not coming.
It's section 17.
I really like to see you put a deck out there, because I think it helps the looks of the front of the house, kind of
Yeah.
tie everything in, so we're not opposed to the deck at all. You just gotta make sure it's not in the setback. It
Yeah.
might be where you may have to shrink the size of your deck.
Yeah, we can make adjustments if necessary. Now, somebody mentioned checking with Kent.
Yes.
Kent's on with us. I think he's
I
trying
think
to.
he's trying
Kent
to
is our
find it.
town administrator and he's the one who does the zoning review.
If you guys can hear me, it's
Yes.
15 feet front yard setback in Meadows.
Okay, what's the side, Kent?
Side is 5.
Because we also have to, when we talk about the shed, the shed is very close to that boundary line.
So
The
is
rear yard is 15 feet as well.
Is this considered the side of the house or the front of the house? Because the doors, the entry doors are on the side.
Whatever faces the street is considered the front of the house.
Faces the street is the front yard setback.
We're talking about two different things, though. You were talking about the shed, right, Cindy, on the side yard?
I'm saying that both of the porch in front and the shed may have setback issues. Both.
Right. Okay, so I guess regardless of setback issues, understanding that even if we can review your plans here and discuss, appropriateness and all that, we can approve it, but that doesn't mean that it will fly with zoning. It still has to go according to zoning. So if you want to address that separately, does that make sense?
Yes.
So it might call for some changes in placement or size, of one or the other.
Okay.
But as far as the review of what you're wanting to do, we can give you the opinion on what we would say if it's appropriate to zoning.
Okay.
Is everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Okay, so can we get to some sightings on the deck?
Yeah.
Okay.
On the deck, book 3, page 94. And I don't know what chapter. Chapter
Chapter
12.
A. The use of a deck is encouraged, and A1, the size should relate to the overall size of the structure. And A2, that you should use similar materials to that of the structure. Wood is wood. And A3, it's not encroaching on on significant open spaces.
Okay, and then the door.
Then we need to talk about the shed.
Okay, did you have siding for the door? Do we need it?
No, I didn't have a siding for the door because I didn't know the door was on it.
Yeah, does somebody have one?
How about page 93? Section 3, chapter 12 again. Windows, windows and door, we should be correspond to the overall directional emphasis of the structure. Bay window, picture windows, and sliding glass doors may be appropriate.
Okay.
I think that's, the only thing I would add is doors to match existing, just to
Okay.
clarify it.
Do we want to go on to the shed? Do we want to vote on these separately? I don't think.
Let's go ahead and do the shed while we're right here.
Okay, all right, so.
We're in book 3 again. Now my question is, this becomes an accessory structure because it's over 100 square feet. It's 16 by 16. Am I correct in my thinking?
Yes.
Okay.
The primary difficulty here is, we're on page 100, is B3.
I think a shed, I mean, a structure like this, and even though they call it a tough built shed, it's going to come component wise. It's going to come walls. It's going to be framed on the site. My question would be that since it's over 100 square feet, you're going to have an engineered set of drawings, and that will tell us whether it's going to have a footing in it or what it's going to, how it's going to be constructed.
Which Tough Shed said they would provide. So
Okay.
this would be a Tough Shed. They said they've worked with you guys before.
Yes. My next concern would be the roof on it. We haven't let the barn style roof fly in town forever. Is there a chance that you could change the roof style?
The roof material or the roofing?
The style of the roof. It's not the roof material. It's the, what am I trying to say, Cindy?
It is the style of the roof. Right now you have a gambrel roof. It comes up somewhat straight and comes in. And the preferred roofs actually are gables, hips, and well, for small structures, shed roof styles. We do have a couple of gambrels that on sheds that were approved in the 70s, and that's one of the reasons that they're no longer.
Well, they wouldn't have been approved by anybody in the 70s, right?
Oh, yes, they would have, because
they were.
The commission was just getting started, so
okay.
You spent a lot of time.
I'm going to share again just for a quick moment here. So this is what you're referring to is barn style.
Yes.
Yes.
You're looking more for A-frame type or gable that has an opening here.
A straight gable roof on the top of it. But
Okay.
you want a second floor on this, correct?
Well, we were hoping to, but I mean, we're open to a smaller shed if we need to.
How tall is this?
The 16, it's 16 feet tall, approximately 15 to 16 feet.
And the roof material, is that a metal roof I'm looking at?
Yes, this is not the actual shed, but we can work with Tough Shed to put whatever materials we want in. So we could, I was hoping to keep it metal because that's what our existing roof is.
Is that what the house roof is?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, because essentially what our guidelines indicate that it's supposed to be you know, an accessory structure is subordinate, smaller, and that it, as far as material goes, it should be in the same material group as the house.
Right, which this roof would meet.
Okay, but as far as, where did I just see that on the accessory structure? It says, while the roof line does not have to match the house, it is best that it does not vary significantly.
Okay,
And so that's why we're after the roof line on.
Sure.
We want it to feel like a partner to the house.
understood.
And on that type of roof, we'd like to see a little bit of overhang on the ends and over the walls themselves. Just so that the roof isn't stopped right at the walls. It has some overhang on it.
What if this were a single story structure? If we switched it to that, is that still impacted by that if it's smaller?
That it should have a little overhang? Yes.
Well, I've seen a lot of just your typical tough sheds in most people's yards that don't match any part of the house. They're smaller, so I understand why this 2-story 16 by 16 would need to be there. But if we're having trouble with just pumping in so much more changes to this, and we just drop this down to like a 10 by 10 single story, does that still need to meet the exact same roofing materials? Like this would almost be a stock tough shed.
Yes, we'd still want the overhangs. The town just did some, or they are going to do some in City Park, and we had this discussion with Tough Shed about extending the
They had
overhangs.
no problem doing it.
Did they?
They did it. No, I said they had no problem
Oh,
doing it.
no problem doing it. No, I can't imagine. I mean, just framing, so it's not a huge expense. It gives it a little more dimension. Doesn't look like you just dropped the box and put it back.
Sure. Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yes.
We're not opposed to the size of it. Even
No,
on a
it could
bigger
be the
shed,
bigger shed.
it's not that much tougher to change that roof line. In fact, it might be cheaper.
Yeah, it'd definitely be easier to build.
Okay.
You could use a standard truss on that, right?
Yeah,
Sean?
yeah, I don't see why not.
You could use a standard truss on that. You would have all the grading.
So at this point, I'm asking members of the commission, do you want to see an amended shed?
I think so. Just to help us make sure we're all in the same direction. Maybe what we ought to do is table this for a week so they have time, or for one session, and then come back and we'd have the answer for the setbacks, and in case we have to change deck sizes and material, perhaps, I don't know.
Details on the French door.
One of the things I'm concerned about, and I understand where you're coming from, is so I guess we're at the mercy of determining whether what the setback is, and then making modifications. But would this set us back at least 2 weeks or 4 weeks for the next meeting? I'd like to get this built in nice weather.
The next meeting is in 2 weeks, and as a tabled item, you would be back on our agenda next time if you can get the materials together, if you can make your decisions. And I think Cindy, they were suggesting tabling to give you time to make decisions. I mean, if you just want to say we're going to make it 10 by 10 or whatever, go with that. But that was to give you some time to discuss and finalize.
Let me ask you this. So if the deck, we tried to do the deck and the shed on the same permit, essentially, not permit, but meeting agenda. So if the shed, which is not as critical for us as the deck, I mean, with this, trying to get the deck approved, right? And so the only thing that's needed for the deck is to find out the setback. And then if so, I'm going to have to narrow the deck. is there any action on our end for that? Like, can we do these as separate items?
I think that's
Need
a
a
fair
building permit,
request.
don't they, for the deck?
I'm sorry?
I think you need a building permit for the deck as well.
I was told we didn't need a building permit for the deck, but I mean, if you guys say we do, that's different what I was told.
No,
Well,
that's not-
No, you have, because you're putting caissons in the ground, so it'll have to be inspected, rebar and everything. You'll have to have an engineer stamp on it too, probably. I guess.
Okay. Yeah. The staff in the office said building permit for sure for the shed, but not for the deck.
Really?
But
Anytime a deck's 18 inches off the ground, correct me if I'm wrong, Sean. I think anything above 18 inches has got to have a permit.
Yeah, anything I've done like that, I would need to get a permit.
So are we, if we're separating the two items to come back and do the shed, are we doing an approval on the deck, or we're gonna see if we have an approval on the deck pending the zoning, outcome, basically?
Sure, we could do that.
I
So
think
we could do that and then review the shed on the next meeting, if that's okay.
that works for us. Yeah.
Okay, so you'll have to go, figure out the zoning with Kent, but otherwise, we can give a vote here on the deck part of this.
Okay.
And then you can make some decisions on the shed, and we will do that next time.
And will you be getting back with us on that offset? Or
You'll need to talk to Kent, yeah.
Yeah, yes, I can. Just give me a call tomorrow, Scott.
okay.
And
I talked to you the other day, right? Yeah,
I think so. You're with Kimley Horn, right, Scott?
yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, just give me a call tomorrow
We'll do.
and then try to do that. Or I have your card. I can give you a call.
Sounds good. Thank you.
So I would like.
And
to
I
make-
don't know why you were told that you wouldn't need a permit for that. That is surprising to me. So I will check into that too. So
And I
when
would like.
it's
to-
elevated that high, that's confusing to me.
Yeah.
So
I would
I don't
like
want
to
to name names.
motion that we accept the deck with permission to narrow the deck by 2 feet if necessary for the setbacks.
Okay.
Okay, I also have a stipulation, just because it wasn't on the application, the French door, which would be wood and glass to match existing doors on the house, and then
Yep.
pending zoning approval on this. So do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Any more discussion, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. So we will table the second part for the shed and see you next time.
One quick question before we leave, for the shed information, if I get that to you by Monday or Tuesday next week, is that enough time for you? For the next meeting?
Yeah.
Yes, you have until what, Thursday or Friday?
I don't know, because
Well-
this needed to be 2 weeks prior, so.
Well, you're on the agenda automatically since we tabled
Because
it.
of the table.
Yeah.
So we just.
You're on the agenda, so.
Awesome. All right, great working with you all. Thank you so much for your consideration.
All
and
right, well, welcome to Georgetown.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
In your house.
Okay. Piles of stuff here. Okay. We have a conceptual review. Are those people on with us? Do we have
They
Hobson?
were.
They were.
Hobson and Robin?
Yes, we're on.
Okay, so let's move the minutes back and go ahead and do this. So if you'll just state your names and your address, please, and then you can tell us briefly about your project.
My name's Hobson Crow.
Robin Gully Crow, 334 Spring Street, Georgetown, 80444.
All righty. And just a brief idea of what you're wanting to do.
We're the proud owners of the Cricket, which is a very small house on Spring Street. that we've had about 6 years. And my wife, Robin, and her family have been on Spring Street for, oh, you can tell her, Robin.
My parents purchased 344 Spring Street.
QD
and
Lodge.
QD Lodge, when I was 5 years old, and so that was a long time ago. So I've been coming to Georgetown basically all my life, in summers and winters, and we over all these years have just completely fallen in love with it, and have many friends here. And so when the opportunity came to buy the Cricket, we seized it and have loved it, and are wanting now to sort of enhance it to make it a place that we could live.
Right now it's,
And my husband's an architect.
yes.
Yeah, nice choice.
But Robin and I have been living in Hong Kong and China for the past 2.5 years, but we're very fortunate to be back, and we're with much despair watching what's going on in Hong Kong.
Jeez.
But that aside, we want to make the Cricket from basically a single room, 18 by 17 foot cabin, or into a house that we can live in. And so we can't move it. It's right on the creek. It's about 5 feet off of our property line on the creek side. It's 5 feet off, approximately 5 feet off of our neighbor. And so we have been working on the Cricket for 6 years. We've cleaned it up, painted it, but it's a very rough cabin. Never had any siding on it. It's just got asphalt shingles on it, and it needs some renovation. We've done a little bit of renovation on it. What we'd like to add is one large room, a kitchen, dining, living room, and two new bathrooms and a laundry area. So I could reiterate a little bit. The existing Cricket footprint is 323.75 square feet. Our addition, the one big room and the two bathrooms, is 751 square feet. So that our total footprint is 1,054. Our lot is 7,225 feet. Plus we have a partial lot on the other side of Spring Street, which means that our ratio of lot to house is we're only covering 14% of the lot. Further, we've identified a spot between our current lawn and the aspen grove that sits at the top of the lot. You can look at it on our site plan, that has no trees and no features on it. And we slot the house addition into that space. And so we of course love the aspen grove, and we have an old split rails fence that we'd like to, everything stays. We have enough space in the current garage to allow for 2 cars to park side by side, and 2 behind it if necessary, even after we get the addition built. So my approach was, since we can't move the Cricket, was to do something very sympathetic to the 1940s, 50. We're not quite sure when it was built, sometime in the 40s. Cora Lou Anderson's come down and said her father thought it was a motor accessory building, garage or something, and that later turned into working housing. Other people, I think, have told us that it might be like a worker housing. I've been around town looking for little buildings that look like it, most of them from the 40s and 50s, and I tried to not recreate, but just do something that was in sympathy to those buildings. And so that's where we are. today. And so we're not asking for, we don't want to cover up the lot at all. The one thing we do want to do though is continue to upgrade the look of the street. Spring Street right now is
A little sad.
a little sad. And so we've been working on our yard in the Aspen Grove, and our friends next door have been working on their yard and completely renovated what was called the old Fair House, which is about a 1900 house, and which we're sitting in right now. It's a spectacular house. So we're hoping to continue to upgrade the street and encourage our neighbors to upgrade their portion. And of course, the gullies are down at the end in the old QD Lodge, which is about 110 years old. So that's my introduction.
Nice drawings.
Talk about the exterior of the house for a little bit.
I beg your pardon?
Could you talk about the exterior of the house for a little bit? That's what we need to look at.
Yes.
The new part of, you mean the
new part?
The addition, okay.
What do you want to do? What does it look like?
So the lot from, of course, Spring Street is inclining up to Corlew Anderson's house at a pretty good clip. And then it warps and heads down to the creek. And so we wanted to nestle the addition down into the site so that from Spring Street, the ridge of the house is only 11 feet above the street level. And so it sits, and I've got these banks of windows, which I went around town and found houses of the same era that had these banks of windows. So of course for us, you're barely going to see the house in the first place, the new part, but then it mimics these older houses from the 40s that had these banks of windows, and you look out on the aspens, and what we hope to do was do a vertical siding for this new addition, and do it in some. We saw a color over on a small accessory building across from the Hamill house, and it's kind of a nice warm charcoal gray little accessory building. It's just perfect because you don't really see it, but it's part of the whole palette of colors. So we were looking at that. So basically, it's vertical siding. If we can afford it, we'd like to do it in vertical cedar, smooth cedar siding. If we can't afford that, then it would be in some kind of hardy that would be painted in this warm gray color.
Do you have elevations of what the house looks like?
Yes, ma'am. There's a whole package. I've got
well, my package does not have page 3 in it, and I think page 3 may be your west elevation.
Yeah, the street elevation.
Yeah, I've been looking for the front elevation and I can't find the front elevation.
I think Jennifer set me up to share the screen.
Oh,
yeah.
For that elevation. There you go.
That's the front elevation?
That's the front elevation, the street elevation.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't know you didn't have it. I need to get you a better rendering of it. But basically, it's just an addition.
Now,
go ahead.
All of that is all part of what we're seeing there is all part of the new part. It is not the cricket is behind.
No, it's part of the old part, but that's the old part.
No, that's new.
That's the new part.
That's
the
right.
old part is right behind that. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. You know, we had this dilemma that we can't move the cricket. It's right on the creek, but we have a slot where we can build is in front that doesn't disturb any trees.
Okay, and so the idea on that front part, that front new part has a gable roof that goes into a shed roof?
Yes,
Okay, and
it,
then,
it mimics the cricket.
It does, yes.
That
Okay,
front left
yeah.
corner is what the cricket looks like now without the door.
right, and then the rest of the new part is a, Sean, what's the pitch on that gable in the front?
Let's see.
Got it. It's the same as the cricket. And it's, I have it drawn,
It's like 7.5, 12.
7.5, 12, yes.
And that is the side, this drawing sort of indicates that this would be horizontal siding, but you said it would be vertical?
Well, I was trying to sort of create the look of the cricket on the entry and then do vertical on the new section. But then they would all be painted the same color.
Right, but you were talking about a wood siding on a wood lap on the section that is extending towards us.
The entry elevation, yes,
The
yes.
entry. And how tall is the building at that point?
I'll tell you. It is, it is 15 feet.
Okay, so it's a little guy.
It's a little guy. Yeah.
It's all a little.
It's all a little guy. It's also 38 and a half feet from the property line on Spring Street.
Right, it's set back down in there. Yeah.
Yes.
And then the roof line going across the new addition, you've got a gable roof on that
Yes, but you're
And
looking only at the eave side of that.
and a whole series of windows
That's right.
that are essentially square windows. They're not, they've got dividers in them, so they look like squares.
Well, they would be sliders, kind of like the ones I've seen around town that match this and match the sliders in the cricket, the original cricket. So they slide. They're about square, but they just slide over the next guy and so forth.
Are those two big patio doors facing Corlews?
Sorry?
Are those two patio doors as drawn?
Yeah. Got
Okay.
showing two
They
patio
face the
doors
creek.
that open to the creek side.
I think we'd have a problem with that much glass facing that way. My suggestion would be to put in another bank of windows.
Okay.
Because we can't let you put two big sliding glass doors. Because that's going to be visible from the street as you're coming down the hill.
No,
No,
Mark,
what's faces not visible.
Right. It's
No,
on the
they
creek.
face the creek.
it faces the
Oh,
creek.
okay, I'm on the wrong, boy, I'm
Yeah.
having a hard time with this.
I know, my page is,
No.
me too.
I know, it's,
Even facing the creek, I'm not sure if we could get along with that. I guess that's something we could discuss.
so can we see page 4 on the share screen? Can we see or do we not have?
I'm not sure which page.
It's the back, Sean. It's the part that faces the creek.
I don't know that we have that on this.
Page
That
4.
is in the packet, though.
That one is in the packet, yes.
Yes.
Okay, so that does face the creek. That's my
That
fault.
faces the creek. And are you
Yeah.
leaving the cricket?
Yes.
Yes. I wanted to get it a little, if we can, I'd like to raise it about a foot just to get it a little off of, it's right in the, into the ground. It has
Like
some
the foundation.
humidity, moisture issues that I think have caused it to have some odor. So we'd like to raise it if we could. Just
Right.
use a
And
Our changer to raise it
let's
up.
say this to Sean, you know, you wanted the front entry to reflect the cricket and when I look at this, it looks to me that I have a different roof slope on the cricket's gable than I did when I saw on the screen. Of course, it's difficult to tell from what we're seeing.
If it is, it might be a distortion of the facts because I took the pictures of all the roofs directly from the cricket.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
Yeah, if you look at it side by side, it looks almost identical.
Okay,
I've
this,
measured
my drawing of this guy also indicates that this would be lap siding, but it isn't. This is
Oh.
what the vertical siding is.
Well, you caught me there. It should be the vertical. You're right.
Okay, this is the side that has the little guy sitting there on the, looking at.
On the little, yeah, exactly. That's where we want to sit. That's right. We're looking forward to sitting there.
Yes.
Okay, and the side elevation on page 6, that's the elevation that looks towards,
So that is, the 6 is, oh, that side is looking towards the fair house.
okay, so that's the one that looks up the street towards Coraloo's.
No, the other direction.
Oh, the other way.
Yes.
Downhill.
It gives us a back door.
So that's the north?
Back towards Tom's house.
Yeah, toward Tom's house. Well, next door is the fair.
Or 6th Street. It's headed,
Oh,
it's facing
yeah,
6th
the
Street.
fair house, sorry.
So why am I confused about that roof line?
It's the end of the long piece. When you're looking at the front of the house, that's the end of the,
That's right. It is the long piece coming through.
so if you're looking at the front of the house, the right to left ridge all across the front or the middle, that's the end of it. And there's a window and a door underneath the peak.
Yes, but it doesn't come all the way across the,
Well, there's a little shed from the cricket that sticks out below it, but
That's right. I
Yeah.
pulled it back from the face of the cricket by 2 feet.
so you can see a little corner of the cricket there.
That's correct.
And that was to meet the setback.
Well, actually, it's all within the setback, but it's,
So you could have some steps.
there's a big spruce tree right there that I didn't want to impinge on.
it certainly is. I went and looked at it.
Do you have the site plan? You could see that spruce. And so I pulled the front new part, basically to try to follow, leaving some offset from the existing house, but also to keep from, it's disturbing the spruce tree. It's a really big spruce.
Yes, I drove by today. I wondered about that tree.
We're gonna save it.
You're gonna say it's in really good shape. We're real happy and we don't want to disturb it.
No, we would prefer you didn't disturb it.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, we have some really pretty specimen spruce on the lot.
So as a conceptual review here, does anybody have any specific questions about materials, windows, doors, roofing, anything in particular that I'm not trying to rush us, but we still
It's a
have a review of
conceptual.
this. This is just so that we could point out anything obvious that we did not think, was workable. And I'm not really seeing anything. I know in this old and small of a little house, the shapes of the windows are going to be a little different than some others. But other than that, I don't have any specific things. Does anybody else?
No,
I
but I
think
think
it looks good. I think it,
I think it looks really good. So.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Hey, so our next step, of course, would be the full packet where you do submit your materials list and all of the other stuff, and then get on our agenda for a review, and we can get you going.
Okay,
And
great.
please,
Thank
please
you
give
all.
us
Really
more
appreciate it
information.
very much.
That's Cindy.
I said, please make sure you give us measurements,
Cindy?
you know, and yeah,
Will do.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, so we have some minutes from July 23rd.
Okay.
I have just one comment, and it's under the microtel.
Mhm.
We gave the size of the 3 signs, and then we say that there's a 4th sign is a directional sign at the southwest corner of the hotel. And it was it was a small sign, but did
But
we
I
have-
don't know what.
Yeah. Somewhere, I think given we mentioned the size of the others, and signs are always questioned, it was something crazy like 3 square feet. I mean, it wasn't big at all. But it's in the packet. If we could pick it up, that would be good.
So is this saying they're all 5 and 1.5 by whatever?
The
So,
3 of them are all the same size, yes.
okay, so the one on the corner was smaller.
I just got to figure out what the directional sign size is.
Okay.
Yeah. And I tossed my packet, or I would have looked it up for you.
Cindy, you don't have a file.
No. You know how big that file be at this moment?
I know. I know. I have to add on to my house.
I think the cricket is going to be very interesting, because what we're doing really, it's going to be hard to make it fit these guidelines on, vertical windows and all of those things. But what we're saying is, yes, create your structure in keeping with the structure you have.
Yeah, well, and it's just such small scale. It's a cabin, it's a cottage. So, you know, the floor to ceilings inside and stuff can't have those 94-inch windows or whatever. So.
Right, but the very early houses that I think of, things like the Little Tucker Rutherford, they did have those long windows, and they were very small places. It's just that we went through a whole period of time in the 40s when people started building little cabins in this town to come and visit. And it's interesting that that's part of our history, to save some of those too.
Yeah, no, I agree. Nice plans, I thought.
Yeah.
I have those dimensions on the directional signs for the hotel.
Yes, please.
Cool.
3'6" is how tall they are, and they are 3'1.5" wide. And those are the entrance signs.
Yeah, and there's only one of them.
Got it. Oh, go ahead.
Does anybody have anything else on the minutes?
No?
Do you hear a motion?
Move that we approve the minutes from the July 23rd meeting.
With the correction on the sign size? Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Thanks, Mark, for looking that up.
You're welcome.
all right. Anybody have anything else? All right, thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Sorry about my audio.
Did you get my text while you were there? Do you have your phone with you?
I have my phone.
I tried texting you to give you a couple of messages, but I didn't know if you had your phone in there.
Yeah, I have my phone. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, have a good one, guys.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night.
We got no sign off. That's weird. There we go.